What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the offensive linemen or the top prospects that the New York Giants may be targeting at the top of this draft at offensive line. Now, there are going to be about 3 candidates that I'm looking at, more so than others. Okay, the 3 candidates I'm looking at is, of course, Ikem Ekwonu, and then we've got Trevor Penning, and we've got Charles Cross. Okay, those are the 3 guys that I'm really looking at. Now, this is, of course, excluding Evan Neal because he did not do, one, he didn't do any workouts today, so there's nothing really to judge off of, and 2, he's not going to be there at number 5, so might as well just, let that ship sail and focus on what we potentially may have at 5 and 7 in this upcoming draft. And I want to start off with Ikem Ekwonu. Now, Ikem is my number 1 option right now at offensive tackle. Besides Evan Neal, of course, we're going to be not talking about him. But Ikem is my number 1 tackle to target for 5 or 7 in this upcoming draft for the Giants. Of course, I feel like he can be a great right tackle. I think he's more so a right tackle. His run blocking is phenomenal. Of course, I think he needs to work on his passing sets a little bit. He needs to work on some kick sliding and stuff like that. And we've seen that in his workouts. Unfortunately, he did not have a good showing at the combine. But we'll talk about all these prospects. But I'm not really concerned about how they performed in their combine. Now, the combine is just something to showcase athleticism, showcase maybe, how well you can do a workout. But it really doesn't tell about what you can do on an NFL field, in an NFL game. So, a lot of things can get mixed up in these workouts, and you really can't take these things with, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You really do. So you can't take it for it's set in stone that Ikem is just going to be a bust because he didn't have a great combine. Now, what I mean by that, you guys can see the Ikem really looked like he knew what to do. Well, not really, except with a few clips, he didn't look like he knew what he was doing. But, he was pedaling his feet nicely, but he wasn't covering any ground. You guys can see in the sideline drills, where the coach is kind of directing you where to go. He looked like he responded just fine. It just didn't look like he covered a lot of ground, and maybe he was thinking about it too much. His feet looked a little jittery. It looked like he was more nervous than anything to kind of perfect what he was doing, and he was kind of doing the opposite. Okay, he was pedaling his feet, and that looked fine, that he can pedal his feet just fine, and they weren't clicking, or he wasn't losing his balance, which is good, but he wasn't moving anywhere. He wasn't covering any ground. You look at a guy like Charles Cross, who I think had the best combine of the top tackles, probably the best combine of the tackles in this combine. And, he looked very good, technically sound, covered a lot of ground. His feet looked very fluid. I mean, it was very surprising, honestly, because if you see Charles Cross on film, he just looks like he doesn't move as much. He's very, energy efficient, doesn't really have active feet, or, doesn't really have a fast kick slide or anything. He just does everything with energy efficiency is what I like to call it, right? He doesn't really do any unnecessary movements to win in a one-on-one or win in a passing set or a running set. He just does what he has to do, and that it really looked good from Charles Cross. He's very technically sound. He had the smoothest drills. They all ran really good 40 times. All the top tackles ran a sub 540 time, which is absolutely insane. Okay, this was the most sub 540 times of the most offensive linemen to have sub 540 times in scouting combine history. So you could see the new generation of these NFL players, whether that be at any position, they're just getting a lot faster, a lot more athletic. So that's something we really don't need to worry about is athleticism. Okay, everybody, Trevor Penning and Charles Cross, these guys are very, very athletic. Okay, we go on to, just to stick around with Charles Cross a little bit. Now, Charles Cross, like I said, is more of a pass blocker. I think he's definitely a left tackle in the NFL. So if the Giants were to draft him, Of course, his natural position, in my opinion, would be left tackle, but I think we would have to put him to right tackle and see how well he could do in the run game. Now, in the NFL, that whole thing with the left tackles being the pass blocker and the right tackle being the run blocker is kind of fading away a little bit. Really, it doesn't really matter anymore about what they really do now that the NFL is more of a passing game as well. So kind of both sides need to learn how to pass block very well, and I think Charles Cross does that very, very nicely. It'll be interesting to see how he would transition to right tackle. And, to talk about Ikem a little bit as well, a lot of people were talking about him moving to guard. Now, if a team were to draft him, maybe that weren't the Giants, because obviously the Giants need a right tackle. I think he fits that perfectly as a right tackle. But if a team were to go ahead and get Ikem, based on what he did in this combine, they may consider him to be a guard. I don't know if that would be the case, but it's a possibility. But Charles Cross, in my opinion, is definitely a tackle in the NFL. Just depends on where you were going to put him. Now, let's move on to Trevor Penny. Now, Trevor Penny is very interesting. He's been rising up boards lately. He may even rise up even more after the combine he had, especially with a really good, I think, 4.89 combine score, 40-yard dash, which is absolutely insane. His straight line speed is very good. Had a very good 3-cone drill. I think he was a top of the class at the 3-cone drill at like 7.25 or something like that. But Trevor Penny looked very good. Now, what I see on film for Trevor Penning is I like him a lot. Do I think he's going to be a top tackle in this draft? When I say top tackle, I'm talking like top 3. He's probably definitely top 4. He's probably the 4th best, probably the 4th one to go. But I don't envision him going anywhere. Maybe top 15, maybe. But I definitely don't see him sniffing the top 10. And I don't see him, getting ahead of Cross, Ikem, or even Neal, obviously. But I can see him going around 15 to 25, Trevor Penning. And I do like him. If the Giants were to trade down, and that's why I'm really looking at Trevor Penning too, because there's a very good possibility we trade out of the 5th or we trade out of the 7th and we move down and we're going to have an offense. If we didn't get an offensive lineman already, we have a prospect in Trevor Penning, and he will be very interesting to kind of take a look at if the Giants were to go. Move down in the 15 to 25 range, and Trevor Penning is available. So, but what I see for Trevor Penning, his straight line speed, obviously very good, 3-cone drill, very good. But what I seen from his sideline to sideline drills, all those agility drills, he did look a bit stiff, did look a bit slow. His reaction time was a bit slow. His momentum shifting was slow. But honestly, those are very, very nitpicky critiques, being that he is a bigger offensive lineman. Now, it is very nice that he ran a 4.89 40. Trust me, don't get me wrong. I don't really look at 40-yard dashes for offensive linemen. It doesn't really concern me as much. But his sideline to sideline agility drills didn't look fantastic, but don't get me wrong, I am not taking that much into account when talking about Trevor Penning, because obviously he's a bigger guy. I think he stands at like 6'7". He's huge, okay? And he is an absolute mauler. So I'm not really concerned about his footwork as much as him throwing people to the ground. So that being said, those are the 3 guys that I really, really like, going into this draft and how they tested. Now, so the best obviously is Charles Cross. Then I got Trevor Penning. I think he performed better than Ikem. Ikem, out of the 3 tackles that we're talking about today, Ikem tested the worst. And in my honorable mention as well, Zion Johnson. Now, Zion, we don't know where the hell he's going to be put at in the NFL. Tackle, guard, he's probably going to be one of those guys to be thrown out everywhere. But Zion Johnson had a really good combine, and it's going to be very interesting to see him in this upcoming draft, how far he's going to shoot up boards, being that Kenyon Green, the supposed top tackle in this top guard in this draft, did not have a good combine at all. So that being said, guys, that is my kind of coverage of the top tackles in this upcoming draft. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did they sway you in any way at all? Did they change your rankings based on how they performed in the combine? You guys let me know. My rankings still remain the same. Evan Neal, Ikem, Charles Cross, Trevor Penning. So that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new. And I'll see you guys in the next video.